Disclaimer, the contents of this podcast spoil respective storylines of Ghost Rider and Hellboy and the film Logan. Isn't that fun? Also, we say the F word a lot. Hello, friends, and welcome to the, I believe, 6th episode of the Flying Feathers podcast. My name is Nathan D. Gonder. Joining me, as always, are my beautiful, lovely friends Donovan.
I'm not sure why you see babies on vacation. It's not like they work.
And Chase.
Hey, I'm here.
Alright, guys, before we get into this episode, it is quite a lengthy, girthy, rotund one. I just wanted to ask, is there anything that you've read and or watched recently? Could be old, could be new.
I recently
I'll let Donovan go first, yes.
As you interrupt me, you actual shit eater. So I started rereading the Swamp Thing series, Saga of the Swamp Thing with Alan Moore and all that, and I'm rereading this, and then I'm thinking about all the stuff I said in our Swamp Thing episode. I'm like, holy shit, I was stupid. There's a lot of stuff I might have gotten wrong.
Nah, it's alright, Donovan. We all make mistakes. We're all people. Even Mr. Swamp Thing is a people.
What the fuck?
What about you,
Okay.
Chase?
Oh yeah,
well,
interrupt.
I was actually letting you go first, dick.
Guys, stop fighting!
Okay, so funny story. I started watching this thing on Netflix called The Last Nights, and it was really cool. And it was about like these. It was about Morgan Freeman, and he was this clan leader of some unnamed empire, and he a new government official was elected, and he was starting to bribe all the noblemen and the clan leaders, and so he had to go meet the emperor at the capital because he didn't give a bribe to the new government official or whatever that was like the right hand man to the emperor or whatever. And by the way, he had the like dopest fucking beard in that movie. Oh shit. But anyways, so I started watching this and I was like, man, this is really cool. And it was like going through a lot of stuff, and eventually it got to the end, and I was like, oh man, that was really awesome. I can't wait for the next episode. And then I looked at it, and I was like, oh shit, that was an almost 2-hour movie that I watched, thinking it was a fucking TV show. Because I was like, it was like really awesome, but it was kind of like a really long episode. And then I looked at it, and it was an hour and 48 minutes, and I was like, oh fuck, I just watched a movie without even knowing it.
That's how they get you, Chase. Modern marketing tactics for films. They disguise themselves as television shows.
Yes.
It's really weird. It's really strange.
I just should start reading the descriptions. Yeah, I watched that. It was really good. Like I said, Morgan Freeman had a really cool beard. Yeah. I actually really liked his character in that. I don't know, he acted really well in that movie. Because usually, he kind of acts like Morgan Freeman sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, unfortunately, he's cast in the Morgan Freeman part.
Yeah.
Happens to a lot of actors.
Will Smith.
Sam Elliott.
Will Ferrell.
Yeah, all those guys.
Nick Cage.
All the Wills. But other than that, I started reading my book again, The Emperor's Blades. It's really cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's, I'm getting to the good parts, finally.
The meat and potatoes of the book.
The meat and potatoes of thine book.
The succulentness of the book.
For a class, I had to read the Zombieland original screenplay this week.
Oh, really?
And let me tell you, it is wildly different than the actual film.
What's different about it?
All of the names are... Well, I think they kept one of them. I think they kept Wichita, but... Columbus is actually Flagstaff. Tallahassee is actually Albuquerque. Little Rock is actually Stillwater. There's a character in there named Detroit. She's an OnStar woman. They don't actually go to a theme park. It's pretty interesting. The screenplay is written very badly, but I don't think that because it follows a lot of screenplay tropes that readers wouldn't want to see today. Just for example, you don't dictate cinematography in a screenplay, but I think at the time that it was written, that was kind of the trend. Like they said, we see a long shot, we see a wide pan, we see a close up. Like you don't say we see and you don't dictate shots, but it's really interesting. I'm sure it's somewhere out there on the internet if you want to read it. I also I didn't finish it, but I tried watching Eraserhead again. If you guys are familiar with that film.
Eraserhead? I've never seen that. I don't even know what it is.
Well, it's really surreal, and it's really pretentious to a lot of people. It was kind of the exit thesis college film by very legendary cult director David Lynch, the godfather of modern cinema. I wouldn't call him that, but I like it. If you guys watch it, Chase and Donovan, I don't know how you'll feel about it, but it's one of those movies that to appreciate you got to really think about it. But in the process of thinking about it, you start putting together things that aren't really there. You're just kind of trying to enjoy the movie. Again, I like it. It's not one of my favorites, but yeah, really interesting. Go watch it if you want. It's really graphic. Like not as in like sex and nudity and stuff, but there's just one part.
Damn.
Really.
No, I don't want to watch it.
Sorry, Chase. There's one part that is just really hard to watch for me. So, yeah.
Wait, is that the one that you and Jacob had to watch for class? I guess your sophomore year, but my freshman year, and mine and Jacob's freshman year.
I think that
or was that something else?
I think you're thinking of Apocalypto.
Oh, yep, that's right. That's what it was. Yeah.
For those of you who are listening, Apocalypto is a film about I don't want to get it wrong, a sort of Aztec or Mayan, or neither. I'm sorry, politically incorrect. Shame on me, but
shame on you.
it's that kind of civilization, and basically they're a hunter and gatherer tribe. And their world is completely turned upside down whenever they're introduced to this sort of civilization thing that's going on with a lot of the other tribes, and it's crazy as hell to watch. It's also really hard to watch for me. It's really interesting, though. There's not a whole lot of dialogue. The dialogue that is actually very, very close to the language that would have been spoken, and it's a Disney film, which I didn't know, because I'm pretty sure that women get raped and babies die in it. But, yeah.
I explicitly remember you and
like
Jacob coming home
Disney
and telling me that.
Look,
so, yeah.
It didn't have a midget. Wait, no.
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. It didn't have a dwarf or no, Wizard of Oz isn't Disney. I was about to say it didn't have one of the little golden brick road
Munchkin?
people. It didn't have one of the Munchkins hanging or in the background, okay? But that's not Disney. That's pretty sure that's Goldwyn Mayer. I don't know. Wizard of Oz may as well be Disney. They own fucking everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not gonna recommend Apocalypto. It's okay.
Disney.
It's good for what it is.
Disney buys
but
out the U.S. military.
Donovan, I cannot understand a word that you just said.
Yeah, I know. I can't either. You're really
I
quiet.
said Disney buys out the U.S. military.
Look, they might. They could.
Did you ever?
But-
There was a really funny meme of like a statue of Mickey Mouse, and like there was like red flags and everything, and like he was saluting a salute that was not very nice, and
Talk
it
about a
was pretty
Nazai
funny.
salute.
Yeah, a Nazai salute.
Oh
yeah,
man,
one of those Nazis.
fuck those guys.
Fuck, I just
That is
need
funny.
my computer.
Be careful. Yeah, Mr. Mouse is a corporation. That's why people like it though. So it's not going to
You
change.
better be, Nathan. You gotta careful saying that thing. Next thing you know, Disney will buy our podcast and terminate us all.
Disney's going to buy the Flying Feathers podcast as soon as it gets big. I'm telling you guys. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna be famous.
We're
And
gonna
Disney,
get replaced with. They're gonna scan our faces and then CGI us and our voices.
They're gonna replace us with Chris Pratt and Tom Holland and I don't know who are they gonna replace Chase with. They're gonna replace Chase with the dude that.
Oh fuck you! I would be Tom Holland out of all of us.
No. They're gonna replace Chase with the. No. Okay, so they're gonna replace me with Chris Pratt. They're gonna replace Chase with Tom Holland. You're right. They're gonna replace Donovan with John Ratzenberger, the guy who voices the pig in Toy Story, and is in like every Pixar movie. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
Yes.
What the fuck? John
But
Rassin.
anyway, guys, let's get on to this episode. This is Donovan's pick of the week, if you can't tell by the title. However, I'm going to go ahead and start it off just because mine is really short. Originally, I was going to do Constantine. However, I wanted to keep it shorter just because I'm sure that Donovan has a lot to say on his topic. Don't disappoint us now, Donovan. But
I'm gonna fucking disappoint.
I'm gonna fall
everyone.
asleep.
But my character, or book, I'd like to say, is a character named Bonecheck, or a book about... It's called Bonecheck. This book was published in May of 2018 by an independent writer and illustrator named Cameron Johnston. I had the pleasure of meeting Cameron Johnston at the Chicago Comic-Con, or the WizardCon of 2018, where he was signing and giving away, or not giving away, he was selling them for money, copies of Bonecheck, which was only a couple months old at the time. I talked with him for a little bit, and he's a really stand-up and nice guy. I didn't talk to him about this podcast or this episode. I just wanted to talk about his book. But Bonecheck is one of those comic books that I would pin as very surreal, very existential. It is quite a masterpiece to look at. If you're somebody who is turned away from comic books like Deadpool, for instance, comic books that have a lot of outrageous language and murder and sometimes senseless nonsense that really means nothing to you, then I wouldn't read it. But I'd encourage that a lot of you read it, because the character is a lot like Deadpool. The character is also obviously heavily inspired by Clint Eastwood Western characters way back in the day. It takes place somewhere between Missouri and Illinois, I'm pretty sure is what Cameron said. And the illustrations are wildly great. It is an art style that I have yet to see. It's very cryptic and very sort of horror, thriller, scary as shit. The reason that I bring the character up in this episode is because in his so far only book, the titular character goes and murders a cult group of, I believe, satanic worship, a cult satanic group. Yeah, I believe he goes and he murders a cult of Satanists. Don't quote me on that. I can't find my copy, but it is sort of a supernatural thing that this character is set up. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens in the book that necessarily is very unexplainable and wouldn't really happen in a lot of other comic books, as outrageous as they may be. There's a lot of lore behind it, too. There's a lot of advertisements for products in this world that I don't know the function to or where they came from, but it's really interesting.
Oh, damn. Disney bought out Bonecheck, too. God.
It's an interesting read. It's a new step for comic books right now. I've read a couple that are also kind of like this, but Bonecheck stuck out to me a lot. Bonecheck 2, I believe, is coming out somewhere towards the end of this year, so keep an eye on it. I'll probably link Cameron's, I believe he has a website. I'll link his website below just so you can check it out, because it's a fantastic read. If you're just somebody that likes artwork, it's also fantastic artwork. It's not like the stereotypical comic book artwork that's everywhere now. And altogether, it's just a weird comic book experience. Very cryptic, very unusual, and I like it. So, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hand things off to Chase. Yay,
Oh
Chase.
my
Chase's time. It's time for Chase.
no way.
Everybody shut up. Chase is talking. Okay, shut up. Who the fuck is clapping? Oh, that's me. All right, continue.
All right, so I have the lovely pleasure to talk about the spirit of vengeance, Mr. Ghost Rider. And just to shake things up a little bit, first, before I get into my constant rantings of facts, I want to know, right now, like, with just your basic knowledge of Ghost Rider, both of you, I want to know what you think about the character and what you know about the character right now.
I love Nicolas Cage.
I know that Ghost Rider is not a individual. It's actually more of a mantle that is carried on.
Right.
And I know that the mantle of Ghost Rider isn't just one thing that one person shares, and it's possible for there to be multiple Ghost Riders at once.
Sorry.
What?
Hmm? Yeah, that was something that I took away, is that Ghost Rider is very much like the Spectre. It's just no one person is the Spectre. As much as I love Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider, there are more Ghost Riders than just Nicolas Cage. So I like comic books that are like that, or characters that are like that. We talked about Green Lanterns last week. I love that there are multiple Green Lanterns. As I said, there are multiple
Green
Spectres.
Lantern can kick everyone's ass.
Yeah, it looks like
Right,
Green Lantern took the cake.
Bullshit, that was fucking you.
No,
That
it
was not
wasn't.
me.
The fuck?
Do you guys like the character, not like the character? Anything you want to say on that?
I do enjoy the character.
I
That's
didn't
just
like him when I was a
because-
kid, but that's just because I hadn't loved Nicolas Cage yet. But look, I'll be honest. I don't know a whole lot about the character. He's one of those characters that I think that I would love because it's like the Spectre and Lobo mixed. But I haven't done enough research and exploring to really find out. But I'm sure that I would. I definitely love the look of the character, that's for sure.
I just fucking heard the light bulb go above Chase's head as you mentioned Lobo.
Lobo, yeah. What'd you think, Chase?
Oh, I was just saying that would be a cool character I could do.
Yeah.
I like Lobo.
Well,
He's fucking
too
dope.
fucking bad. He's mine. No, I'm kidding. You can do whatever you want.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to let you guys talk about Mr. Ghost Rider.
Mr. Ghost.
I will say, going into it, like, I've never read any comic books or anything about Ghost Rider. I really only knew what Nicolas Cage told me
Hell yeah.
in those movies, and that was basically it. But yeah, well, here we go. Yeah, so Ghost Rider's first spotlight was Marvel Spotlight number 5, August of 1972.
Ooh.
And I don't really know what Marvel Spotlights are. I'm guessing they're just kind of like I don't know, they may be just like one comic book showing a new character maybe, but I don't really actually know. That's just what it said. His first appearance was Marvel Spotlight number 5. Fun fact, the first Ghost Rider was a hero of the Old West. Since then, obviously with Nicolas Cage and other TV shows that I will mention later on, many have donned the mantle of Flamey Headboy and or the Big Bad Spirit of Vengeance. So most notably, I think everyone knows this certain Flamey Headboy is Johnny Blaze, a.k.a. Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, Nicolas
That's what the
Cage
movies
is
were.
the true Ghost
And,
Rider.
Yeah. And Johnny Blaze was an orphan who was taken in by a motorbike stunt family. They did stunts and stuff. I think not like in a circus, but like their own thing. They just did motorbike stunts as their own business, I guess. Or show, I should say, show. That gives it more justice. So at one point in time, a trick goes wrong with Johnny Blaze, and he ends up somehow making his motorcycle explode, and it wounds his mother, his adoptive mother. I don't know how it exploded, don't know what the trick was, but it exploded. And as she dies, she decides to be a total bitch and tell Johnny Blaze not to ever ride in the show again, which obviously both him and her know that that's not going to happen. So it's kind of a bitch move, but so he ends up like practicing on the side in secret, obviously, and there was he doesn't ride in the show or anything like that for a while, and his dad actually his adoptive dad thinks he's like actually trying to like he thinks he's too afraid to ride again, so he kind of just like takes him out of the show. But then eventually he gets a little bit more bad luck when Johnny's adoptive father gets really sick. Probably with butt cancer or Breaking Bad cancer. Don't really know which
Wasn't
one.
it?
Aren't
I
those
thought it was. I was pretty sure it was lung cancer.
Was it? Oh, so
Yeah,
Breaking Bad
I
cancer.
remember the movie.
I actually looked it up and I couldn't find it. I don't really know which one it was. But okay, let's just say.
I think it'd probably make more sense if it was lung cancer, considering that the guy was a stunt, not stunt coordinator, an action man. You know,
Yeah.
A daredevil.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I guess with like some dust from the dirt and the fumes and stuff from fiery rings, maybe. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Could be lung cancer. Probably is lung cancer.
Ironic
Let's
that
just
his
say lung
son
cancer.
becomes Flamey Headman.
Yeah, Flamey Headboy. Yeah. So he gets super sick, and for some reason Johnny Blaze says, I'm gonna turn to the supernatural, and he starts I guess he kind of like started doing his own research and reading books and stuff like that, and he's afraid to lose, another father figure since he was, an orphan. He doesn't want to lose another parent or anything like that. And being the genius he is, he decides to try and summon the demon of all demons, Beelzebub, or Lucifer, or Yahweh, whatever you want to call him.
No, Lucifer and Yahweh are so different.
Yahweh is God. What the?
Yeah, I know. That's the joke.
Okay, I see.
Your jokes are bad.
Jeez.
Sorry,
Fucking
Donovan.
feel
Chase
bad.
just memed on us.
Yeah, I memed
aren't
you
you
guys.
fucking-
Got
Wow.
you. Dab
You're
on
so
him.
Damn, you're so funny.
Whip.
Not funny. Didn't laugh.
But he's trying to summon Lucifer, and he ends up summoning Mephisto, which he is basically just a big baddie who is very, very, very powerful and very, very mean.
Yeah, he's kind of the actual devil of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so he decides to create a pact with Mephisto, thinking it's Lucifer, and he sells his soul to save his father, so his father doesn't die. And it works for the time being until his dad ends up getting into a crash and killing himself. Well, not killing himself, obviously, but he crashes and he dies.
Yeah.
And funny thing, his dad's name is Crash. Second of all,
Damn. That is some misfortune name
Yeah,
thing
right?
there.
No kidding. And Mephisto comes and collects Johnny's soul anyways. And ends up replacing his soul with a demon who goes by the name of, if I can read my notes, Bitch.
Oh.
No, it's not Bitch. Selling his soul so I can play the fiddle. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I made a joke about a fiddle. I was going to make a joke about going to Georgia or whatever. that song.
That one went down to Georgia. No,
Yeah.
no.
I wrote that. Oh, here it is. Zarathos.
Yeah.
Which obviously is the Ghost Rider, and he eventually dons the mantle of that, and rides by night as Ghost Rider. Danny Ketch is the next Ghost Rider.
I thought you were about to say Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom.
Oh,
Yes,
funny 'cause
Danny
he's a
Phantom.
ghost. Because his molecules got all rearranged.
He had glowing green eyes and
Yeah.
snow white hair.
He murdered a man. That was
You
weird.
fucked up.
The Box Ghost. I'm gonna do my next hero is the Box Ghost.
Yeah, you should.
But anyways, Danny Ketch is the next Ghost Rider. So Danny Ketch's story is that he is a witness to a mob murder. Ooh. And usually, according to mob tradition, when the mobs, officially created themselves as the mob, and they made a list, right? The mobs did, and a list of, let's say, I'm gonna call it a list of big oopsies.
Okay.
And those big oopsies are things you're not supposed to do, and witnessing a murder is one of those big oopsies.
Right.
And so Danny Ketch commits a big oopsie, and his sister Barb is eventually killed by the villain Deathwatch. After that happens, he gets obviously really depressed, and he goes and walks around in a junkyard, I guess, because he finds an old bike, and he touches the gas cap, which happens to be an ancient demon medallion or something, and bada bing, bada boom, he's the Ghost Rider. And he eventually goes and he avenges his sister and all that. So he just kills a bunch of mob people. Yeah, and then there's two others. There is, let's see, what is their name? One of them was a chick. Her name was... Oh, actually, there's actually a really cool a story with Adam, which actually, this is the story that I'm about ready to talk about. But a new Ghost Rider is created when a mysterious Adam, the first man, thus the first sinner, offers to relieve Johnny of the spirit of vengeance. Johnny doesn't hesitate, and it needs a host, in need of a host. The spirit transfers to a young Mexican-American woman named Alejandra Jones.
Probably Alejandra.
And so,
but it could be Alejandra.
Alejandra Jonas.
Oh, yeah.
And
Alejandra. It's got a J.
Alejandra, yeah.
It's got a J in it.
Oh my god.
Beautiful.
I'm sorry.
Hilarious.
That's really fucked up.
Excellent. No, it's fine, Donovan. You already said it.
You fucking racist.
Excuse me.
Um,
we all know I'm right. You're just so lucky that Nathan happened to edit out the part where I was right.
Yeah, and that fucking pissed me off.
Sorry. They don't know what we're talking about.
Last episode, Chase thought I didn't mention a name of Jon Stewart, and he called me a racist for it. Nathan managed to save his ass by editing it out.
I didn't edit.
Jokingly, I might add.
I see now that you two are against me. All right. This is rock paper scissors. Except I'm rock and I have a gun.
I didn't edit to save anybody's ass. We went on this huge argument for like 5 minutes because I swear that Donovan didn't say Jon Stewart. So I was like, hey, what about Jon Stewart? And Donovan, being the abrasive asshole that he is, threatened to kill me. And then Chase stepped in and was just like, hey, don't threaten to kill Nathan. And Donovan said, fuck you, Chase. I hate you and I'm going to kill you too. No joke. Look it up.
Maybe y'all should stop calling me out then. Maybe y'all wouldn't get threatened like this. Just saying.
I edited like a 5-minute argument out. And within that 5-minute argument, Chase made a comment about Donovan being racist because he didn't mention Jon Stewart. And I cut it out. And apparently it was noticeable that I cut it out, and that's fine. But you break a few eggs to make an omelet, don't you, boys? And aren't omelets delicious?
I'm making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't fret over a few eggs.
I'm not cutting any of this. Good. Anyway, Chase, please continue.
Anyways, all right. Alejandra Jones, whatever her name is. Adam makes her kind of, she is under his control, blah, blah, blah. She does some shit, blah, blah, stuff. Robbie Reyes is another, Mr. Ghost Rider. He is a mechanic, and, he decides to, get some extra cash, and so he takes one of the cars from his mechanic shop to go out street racing. Unknowingly, it had a bunch of drugs in it, and he is thinking he's being pulled over by the cops. He pulls over in a rival gang who wants the drugs, kind of, shoots him up and, kills him, I think, pretty much. And then that's when the Ghost Rider takes over, and this is, I believe, the first Ghost Rider that actually has a car for a vehicle instead of a bike. So that's really cool. It was like a really awesome Mustang, and the wheels are still on fire and everything. It's really cool. Yeah. Now, I'm going to talk about the Hell Cycle, and then I'm going to talk about some of his weapons.
Do it.
All right. Ghost Rider's vehicles. So, basically, everybody except Robbie Reyes had a bike, They just had a different form of a bike. Johnny Blaze actually originally had just a Harley Davidson with no flames or nothing. Just originally he just had a regular bike. And then he learns that he can conjure the motorcycle composed of flame and dark magic, and that's when the fiery bike comes in. And the chick, Jones, had a kind of like a crotch rocket bike, so it was a little bit lighter, a little bit not necessarily faster. They're the same speed, but just lighter and more maneuverable, I guess. And then Ketch actually had like an armored bike. He had armor on the front of it, which was really cool. Yeah, and then so riding at over 180 miles per hour, 290 kilometers per hour for all you overseas listeners that we don't have yet.
Yeah, Donovan.
It is actually the fastest vehicle on wheels in the Marvel Universe.
Oh, okay.
It is the Hell Cycle. Yeah. So it's really cool. He can travel thousands of miles in a few hours without needing to stop for gas. The bike runs on its own Hellfire, which is what makes Flamey Headboy is Hellfire.
Flamey.
It's not just normal fire. Mm-hmm. The motorcycle is able to ride on water, up walls, and even maintain short bursts of flight. Which is really cool.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go on to the weapons of Mr. Ghost Piter. The Hellfire chain is used by various Ghost Riders, whom all have the facility to manipulate Eldritch energy. I don't really know what Eldritch energy is. Hellfire burns the soul, but it can also brutally affect physical forms and objects. When wielded to a mundane weapon, such as Johnny Blaze's shotgun. Johnny Blaze used a shotgun. He even used one in the movie.
The movie? Nicolas Cage?
The movie? Nicolas Cage, yeah.
The Declaration of Independence?
El Dorado. That was the
I
second
get it.
one, I think. Yeah. And then Danny Ketch's, he used a motorcycle chain. But basically the chain actually has an infinite length when wielded by Ghost Rider, so he can, make it super short or really long. He can also restructure it into shuriken, a lasso, a flail, a staff, or even a saw, which is really cool. I did not know he could manipulate it that much. So yeah, now I have a couple things on the movies, and then I'll be done. This is kind of a long. I realize that, but I'm mixing it up.
Chase. That's just fine.
Close the book, and I rewatched the trailers to both movies, Spirit of Vengeance and just Ghost Rider, because I didn't want to pay any money, because I'm cheap.
It's all right.
Pay any money.
But so basically, the first one, you can definitely tell it was made in a long time ago, because it was
like 2006,
really old.
I think.
Was it? Yeah, I think that, because I think Spirit of Vengeance was 2012.
Yeah.
But you can definitely tell it was 2000s movie writing and 2000s trailer writing, what 2000s trailers look like, kind of same thing music videos in the 2000s were fucked up.
They were great.
Yeah.
Simpler time.
A simpler time. But in that one, I also watched some fight scenes from both, and the trailers were fine. 2000s trailers, they were just
a simpler time.
But some of the fight scenes were pretty cool in the first one. The really weird thing I didn't like about it was the CGI wasn't horrendous or anything, but his leather that he wore
seemed a lot more in Spirit of Vengeance. The leather seemed a lot more it seemed a lot more fake.
In Spirit of Vengeance, really?
In Spirit of Vengeance, I did not enjoy how. I really did not appreciate how he looked in Spirit of Vengeance. I didn't enjoy that they decided to make his skull black. Yeah, I didn't enjoy that they made the skull black, that they put engravings into the skull, that they made his leather jacket and all that look like it's more charred and all that.
It wasn't
Because
charred. It
it's
was bubbling. It was literally like
it
just
was
melting
heated, right?
to his skin. Yeah,
I didn't
it was
like
actually,
that
I thought it was
because in most other cases the hellfire that surrounds Ghost Rider's body does not damage him. So why is it damaging his clothes?
cool. Yeah, but if you look at the way he looked in the first one, it's bad. Like his leather is just perfect. It's shiny. It's like not even creased anywhere. Mm-hmm. It actually looked more unnatural for him to be like, for it to be perfect like that. No, like no damage to it. Nothing. Like there was nothing to it, and his skull was way too white for it to be inside a fire. Like I understand that it's supernatural, but like I would feel like the lighting of the fire and the skull being in the fire would be different, and it wouldn't just be white like a skull is, and it was kind of unnaturally white because I don't even think our skulls are that white.
So what I would say about both of those things is that Chase, I agree with Donovan. It's hellfire, and it's not necessarily supposed to because characters in comic books interact with Ghost Rider all the time, and they're just fine. However, when it comes to the design of Ghost Rider translating onto a film, I can very much understand why they went the way they went with the Spirit of Vengeance, just because yeah, Chase, you're right. The CG is a little too clean. It's a little too slick. It just, and granted, yeah, early 2000s, mid 2000s CG was still kind of like PlayStation 2 graphics.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little slick. The thing that I compare these movies with, I've seen the original Ghost Rider like a million times. I love it. It's so bad. That's not me saying that. Don't judge my music taste based on me loving Ghost Rider, or my movie taste based on me loving Ghost Rider, because it's not good.
No, fuck your music taste at it, Nathan.
Shut up!
The Black Keys, I bet you fucking do.
I love the Black Keys, but
I love it too.
Oh, I thought you said Alicia Keys.
Not so much. But yeah, don't judge my movie taste based on me thinking that Ghost Rider is something that I love, because I don't think that it's good. However,
it's probably more of a nostalgia kind of thing.
It is. But Spirit of Vengeance, I've only seen once, and I didn't really pay attention to it. It was over at a friend's house, and they were like, "Oh, we got to watch it. It's so good." And we watched it, and most of the time I was just like, But something that I will give the Spirit of Vengeance, it takes itself so much less seriously than the first one did. And that's exactly what a Ghost Rider played by Nicolas Cage movie needs to do. Because, I'm sorry, if Nicolas Cage is in the film, there's not a whole lot that I'm going to take serious from the get-go. He's in a lot of really good stuff where he gives really good performances. But most of the time, it's this weird fucking dude with these really buggy eyes, and he's just given this over-the-top performance. It's like, I'm scared, but I'm also, like, laughing because it's funny, but I'm also afraid to laugh because I'm still scared. It's Nicolas Cage. That's his whole thing.
My question is, Nathan, Nathan and Chase, since you both know actors more than I do, if you could cast anybody to be in a Ghost Rider remake, who would you cast? And it would be a Johnny Blaze, not Robbie Reyes, not anybody else, but...
So, as an older Johnny Blaze, I would go William H. Macy. As a younger Johnny Blaze, I would honestly say... I would say the older brother from Stranger Things. I can't remember his name, but I think he would be really good.
Wait, which older brother? Like Will's older brother?
Will, yeah. Will's brother.
Well, no. Yeah, Will's older brother is the
him.
dude that
I haven't watched
bangs,
that show in a long time. Something Byers. Jack Byers?
Jack Byers, yeah.
Yeah, I cast the kid or the guy that plays Jack Byers. I think he'd have, because there's a look to it, and I think he'd have a really good look.
Yeah, honestly, I can't really like recall actors like Nathan did very well.
It's an
so
obsession.
I will have to think on my answer, because I have to look at who they are, look at their name, and then remember what they're in. And then I can give you my answer, because I'm not really actually good at that. Like, but I don't know. Honestly, I think from what I remember of it and from what I watched, I think Spirit of Vengeance. I kind of did the same thing you did, Nathan. Like, I don't think I paid too much attention to it, and I think I kind of hated on it just to hate on it.
Yeah.
But like, I think the second one was kind of actually took itself more seriously, in the sense of like they were making Ghost Rider more scary and making him more realistic. I mean, he's literally a demon almost.
I do
you know?
enjoy that
So,
in Spirit of Vengeance they played more onto whatever vehicle he operates, he can turn into his. They did it with the earth moving machine. They did it with the Jeeps and the trucks. I will appreciate though with what I like about Robbie Reyes' thing is that he's like one of the few Ghost Riders that doesn't have a motorcycle. He has a Mustang.
Yeah, that's right.
Which I think is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also one more thing I forgot to say. He didn't actually have the penance stare. Do you guys know what the penance stare is?
Yeah.
He didn't actually have. Ghost Rider didn't have that ability until Danny Ketch. Johnny Blaze never had that. And he actually had it in the movies, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he did. That was a really, really disturbing scene to watch when I was a child.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a cool thing I forgot to read.
Gotta love Ghost Rider. Who do you? So this is a little unorthodox, but I would like to ask the audience, who would you like to see play Ghost Rider? I know they had Ghost Rider a couple years ago on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was Robbie Reyes.
Yeah, there was that incarnation.
Yeah, it was a Robbie Reyes one. I kind of took a nap before I looked him up, so.
No, I get you. No, that's all right. We are gonna take naps, Chase. I'm so fucking tired, all the time.
I am too.
But yeah, there's a lot of good actors out there right now, and there's a lot that's expected of Marvel now that the Avengers is kind of done, or the traditional Avengers. Obviously, they released their slate at D23, but you know there's always more projects in the future. So if you think that there is a certain actor that you love that would be an amazing Ghost Rider, say it right now. Just stand up and say it. Anyway, Donovan, on to you, the special boy, the big special boy of the night. Donovan's the big special boy.
Right.
All right, Donovan, what you got?
So.
Yay, Donovan! Yeah, big special Donovan. Woo! What do you got, Donovan? You got Hellboy.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I have
Heckman.
Hellboy. Hellboy is most definitely my favorite comic book character altogether, and he falls under my favorite thing to actually learn about, which is the occult, paranormal kind of stuff. Everything about Hellboy, going back to just how he was made, what made him an important character to me, and just that kind of stuff. It's just what really, really inspiring kind of character. I'll go first. I'll talk about this. Mike Mignola is the author and creator of Hellboy. He actually, the inspiration for Hellboy came from when he was a child. His dad would come home from work with new scars and new cuts and bruises because he worked a job as what was it again? Let me look through my notes real quick. He had a job. Oh, it doesn't say. Okay. He had a very hard-working job. Came home just all banged up and all the time, and just would shrug it off with dry humor, much like our big red guy does right now and there. So I will go into the history. Oh, and Mike Mignola's style is heavily based off of Jack Kirby's style. He will gladly admit that, as well as the art that you would see that came with H.P. Lovecraft's, his all his books and all that, the illustrations that would come with that.
Oh, H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh.
Fucking good writer.
He had a
not
cat.
very good.
He had
at,
a cat,
Not very good at naming cats.
So
don't look it up.
So I will start this off right now. Hellboy. So in the ending tides of World War II, the Third Reich were getting desperate to win the war. In such case, they called upon the help of a sorcerer named Grigory Rasputin. You might know Rasputin as the man that was, the song and dance.
Wait, the
basically
one in
all
the
that.
epic rap battle with Stalin?
You're talking about Rasputin?
Yeah.
Rasputin.
Oh.
So, Rasputin promised the Nazis a miracle, and he would do a ritual. And his ritual would be somewhere in the northern England and all that, trying to summon something. And he would, however, it wouldn't summon right in front of him. Instead, coming down in a fireball from the skies is a infant child with red skin and a stone right hand. And just so happens that Hellboy and the kid was then dubbed by a paranormal team, and as well as some U.S. Army soldiers that had been there at the time, because they knew that the Nazis were doing something up there in northern England. Professor Broom was the lead paranormal investigator then, and he dubbed the boy Hellboy, which is a pun. So he's, literally living as a pun.
Fun because he came from the sky?
No, because he's a demon.
Because
and
he's
a boy.
Heckman.
I hate you guys.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I honestly, that was an honest question. That doesn't make any sense
Oh.
to me. It's not a pun if he's a demon, but he's, so they call him Hellboy. So, I mean, that makes sense, because he's from hell, if he's a demon.
I mean, it is kind of a pun, because the conversation that happened is that one of the soldiers, or there was another paranormal detective there. He was declaring, he's like, kill it, it's a demon sent from hell. Mm-hmm. And then another soldier was like, no, it's just a boy. And then Professor Broom was like, oh, Hellboy.
Okay,
kind of like just like a quick
sense.
witty
I could
thing.
understand that.
Anyways, so after he appeared in a church on an island off the coast of Scotland, Hellboy was actually taken to a Air Force base in New Mexico, where he grew up under the superficial teachings as well as parental guidance almost of Professor Broom, Trevor Brutenholm. Even before, and then in 1952, so 8 years later, this happening in 1944. In 1952, Hellboy now has the appearance of an adult male. He towers about 8 feet tall, and he's about as wide as a truck. He's a big boy. He's a big lad.
Absolute rotund.
He officially gets what was it? It was he basically gets like human rights. Like he can be declared human. It's kind of fucked up, but is what it is. But in 1952, Hellboy actually becomes an official member of the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense. So early on in his career, he's just sent around to do some small things. He's just responding to events, and he's able to actually fight things such as werewolves, vampires, and of course Nazi scientists, because that is honestly the most profane enemy.
I mean, get rid of him.
One of his most notable encounters actually is with the Baba Yaga, the Russian witch. Right, and of course during this encounter with the Baba Yaga, Hellboy is actually able to shoot out her eye, which in turn creates an instant enemy right then and there. Of course, this was all in 1952. 2 years after, so in 1954, Hellboy was actually approached by the Osiris Club. The Osiris Club were a bunch of guys. That's its own thing. Basically, it's a bunch of guys who were actually approached by a spirit of Ra, who essentially gave them like everlasting life and would let them see and know all sorts of crazy things that are going to happen, but they can't do anything about it. So the Osiris Club gave Hellboy a mission to go slay a worm, a dragon. Except it wasn't a dragon that you would think of like, Skyrim or like, murals and all that. It would be like it'd be like an alligator like snake. During this battle, Hellboy is able to kill the dragon, and his blood actually spills onto the ground, and from his blood comes lilies. Now, to nobody, that means nothing, right? But to the Osiris Club, to the readers, that would mean that the spirit of Hellboy is good, because lilies can only grow in this place from the blood of good people. So, yeah, that kind of stuff gets in here. This is a lot of shit. And I apologize that this is all happening at once right now. He's just done a lot of things, and honestly, there's so many things going on throughout his entire life. It just seems like every waking moment he's out there doing something new. I'm not going to go over every bit of thing that happens in his life, because then what's the point of buying the comics if I tell you guys every piece that happens to him?
Right, yeah.
I will just go over the main things. So you start off right away, when you read the comics, you start off in Seed of Destruction. What's going on in Seed of Destruction is that they being the BPRD, gets wind of something going on in this place called the Cavendish Hall. And it's something about a family that keeps going up north to the Antarctic, and they just keep disappearing, and they wonder what's going on and all that kind of stuff. During this place, to summarize everything that happens, it turns out that the Cavendish brothers, the ones that had disappeared, were actually turned into frog monsters by none other than Gregory Rasputin, the sorcerer that had brought Hellboy into the world. Hellboy and Rasputin meet, they fight, and he reveals to him that his actual name is Anung Urama, that he's a demon from hell, and that his destiny is to destroy the world one day. Hellboy promptly kills him, violently. Partially kills him. What actually happened is that one of Hellboy's friends, Ape Sapien, throws a spear and penetrates his chest, which that did kill him, but then his spirit came back like a zombie. Some crazy shit. It gets wild.
Sounds sexy.
Oh yeah, it gets crazy.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff happens. Throughout the entire comics, Hellboy is just being told about how much he's going to destroy the world. There's all sorts of beings that keep telling him this. Baba Yaga, Rasputin, other demons from hell, Hecate, the snake goddess.
Yeah.
Oh, I do know her, yes.
Yep. They all keep telling him about how he's destined to just, obliterate humanity, and there's no reason why he needs to be saving humanity when he's the one that's going to kill them all one day. And to him, he promptly says, "Screw you," and then punches them with his mighty right hand.
Mighty right hand.
Oh yes, he's very great. Hellboy is accompanied, for the first few years of his life, he's joined by his friends. His friends include Liz Sherman, a pyrokinetic, not a pyromancer, pyrokinetic. Big difference there. Mm-hmm. One is magic, one is mind. She's able to, of course, create fire with her mind. Abe Sapien, a man who turned into part fish. That's his own thing. I would recommend reading BPRD, Plague of Frogs. It goes all into about how the origins of Abe Sapien plays into how the world can be saved one day. And then you have a very interesting character that I enjoy, Roger the Homunculus. Now, if you don't know what a homunculus is, it's supposed to be a small little creature that's grown in human shit. This one happened to be a 6 foot tall, very friendly guy that can absorb energy. One such case, he's actually able to absorb the fire straight out of Liz Sherman's body. Which, did wind up killing Liz for a moment. Roger gave it back because he felt bad. And because Hellboy told him to. By the way, Hellboy is the one who named Roger Roger. He named him in the back of a car.
Excellent.
That's something I really always enjoy about Hellboy, is that sometimes these names, or just like the things that happen, are just so quick and witty that it's like, whatever. It's just like, oh, okay, sure. Like, one such example is, one of the authors of Hellboy made mention that he smells like peanuts. So, it's just been a thing that one of his nickname is Peanut. You won't ever really hear it as an adult. You'll only hear it when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Moving on. Eventually, Hellboy quits the BPRD because they put a bomb inside Roger's chest and in a hope to not kill him, but use him as a weapon in case something does happen. So he quits the BPRD and decides to go on his own thing, and from there is when he starts to learn more about himself. He learns that his father is a demon prince named Azael. His mother was a witch. he learned more that his stone hand actually is the hand of an angel that was responsible for creating one of the most, or actually the most powerful evil being in the Hellboy universe, which is a 7-headed dragon called the Ogdru Jahad. Very big thing. If I actually get an opportunity to actually go into more of the Hellboy universe, I will, but this isn't really a special episode for that. This is more of an episode meant for me to brief on what he kind of does, right?
Yeah, I'd love to have a bit more of a breakdown Hellboy episode with you sometime, Donovan.
Right, and I'll actually have to write notes for once.
Right, now I get you.
Because I've never written... Nathan, I'm not sure if you noticed that or not. I have never written notes for any of these podcasts.
You gotta write notes. You gotta be structured. You gotta
But
write
I'm
notes.
so good otherwise.
I tend to I write my notes, and then while I do that, like, I basically know what I write down, so I know what I want to talk about, even though I write down, and I don't really read from my notes.
But basically, Hellboy is a very interesting character. I'm not going to go more into about what happens after the fact of him traveling the world.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm going to let y'all just please read that. I'm telling you, please read it.
Hellboy's still pretty accessible in a lot of mainstream comic book stores. I've seen it
Yes,
in
he is.
so many vintage stocks and entertain marts everywhere.
If you're... I got to tell you, if you want to get an idea of how Hellboy is, I would definitely recommend watching both movies with Ron Perlman, checking out the animated series, and if you really want to, watch the one with David Harbour in it. There's just a lot of details that you're going to miss in the David Harbour movie if you had been like me and read the comics and then went to go watch the David Harbour movie, and you understand what's going on. But y'all do you. I'm not in control of anyone.
Yeah, I heard that that 2019 Hellboy was one of the most not underwhelming movies, but a lot of people just didn't expect it to be what it was.
Well, because a lot of people's impression is David Harbour, or not David Harbour, is the Ron Perlman series.
Ron Perlman, Del Toro Hellboy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Del Toro Hellboy.
That was the one
That's
that I
actually
grew
really...
up with. I loved it. I mean, not even as... It took me a long time to realize that that's technically a superhero movie or a comic book movie because it just felt so Guillermo del Toro.
Oh yeah, it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, I think he was.
It was
perfect.
actually because of I never actually got to read the Hellboy series until 2016 because I never actually had access to a comic book store in our small town that we grew up in, Nathan.
Yeah, there was nothing.
And I never had money to even invest in that kind of thing. So when I joined the Marines, I had a steady paycheck and I bought the entire 12 volumes of Hellboy. And over the 3 times I deployed while I was in Japan, while I was stuck in the middle of the ocean in a giant metal ship with no internet, I had my comics downloaded onto my computer, and I just read them all day.
Yeah.
I probably reread the Hellboy series 3 times in 4 months.
Yeah, Donovan, I remember there was that period where, like, you would have internet for, like, 5 seconds, and then you would Snapchat me something really stupid, and then I wouldn't hear from you for, like, 3 more months.
Yep. So, I guess I can go into Hellboy's abilities and strengths and all that kind of cool stuff.
Yeah,
so,
go ahead.
He is a half-demon, because technically his mother was human and his father's a demon, therefore he is a half-demon. Most people don't realize that. They just think he's a demon. Which, it's fine, it doesn't really matter. But because he's half-demon, he has all sorts of cool things going on for him. He has superhuman durability, meaning that he can take on a lot of shit. One example being that he actually charged forward at a machine gun, took numerous bullets to the face, chest, body, and arms, and was able to destroy the gun using his giant red hand to smash it. He was impaled through the chest with a spear, and he was able to break the spear from the holder and then use the spearhead to kill the guy who speared him. It was pretty cool stuff. He's also been able to take a shotgun blast to the face and able just to walk it off just fine. He doesn't pass out during that kind of stuff. It takes a lot of things to hurt Hellboy. In fact, the only way that they were able to actually kill Hellboy is by ripping out his heart. that is its own entire thing. He didn't even technically die.
Yeah, I was gonna say big
So,
spoiler,
yeah.
Donovan. We don't spoil in this podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ooh.
By the way, Logan dies.
Yeah, there it is. Yep, I was waiting. I was counting.
Yep.
Honestly,
Hel-
I was so focused on how I.
Damn
was
it,
gonna
guys!
do
We
it,
got
I
an
didn't
hour
even
and
think I
4
was gonna
minutes
do
in,
it.
and we didn't even mention it.
Hellboy has superhuman strength. He's able to actually take down at one point in time, he was fighting a giant. He broke off a tree and actually hurled the tree at the giant's neck. He's able to pitch concrete from his right hand with the force of a sledgehammer. It gets pretty crazy. Hellboy ages very slowly. By the age of 8, he was already a 8-foot tall figure and had the gruff voice of a Ron Perlman, but he still had the mentality of a kid. So that was very hard to do. He's able to actually understand ancient languages as well as magical languages. It's something probably to do with his demonic heritage. He is very hard to he's very hard to burn. He's a very hot figure because
That means
demon.
he's very good in rap battles. Burn him very well.
Yeah.
He's very you can't really set him on fire because he is a demon, and he's pretty hard to make cold too. In one such instance, he was teleported to the middle of Russia during the winter, and he's able to walk out there in his in his sexy booty shorts that he always wears.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's something
down
that-
to his skivvies.
That's something that we will never get to witness in any of the Hellboy movies. Only in the animated series that Hellboy does in fact wear some fucking
I want
phenomenal.
to see Hellboy's dick. I don't know about you boys, but
I'm not
Let's-
googling
okay,
that. I'm
let's
googling
stop.
Hellboy shorts.
Now, something that he can do pretty well, and it's his demonic transformation. When Hellboy embraces his demonic heritage, the stubs on his horns. By the way, he saws down his horns just so he could feel normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
The stubs on his head burst into horns, and in one such case, he actually grows to a colossal size, taller than that of a leviathan, which I would have to say is taller than a mountain. In this form, he's able to change his size and all that. He's able to manipulate legitimate hellfire, so he can basically unleash fire from his body. He can call down lightning. He literally raises his right hand into the air and is able to create a lightning bolt and able to hurl it down too. And of course he can fly because he's got wings.
Right. Yeah.
What's really interesting is that in this moment when Hellboy is actually able to grab lightning and throw it down, it's really significant because earlier in the comics, Hellboy had given up his right eye, so he it's kind of like Odin,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the things that you'll see here, and there's oh my goodness, there's a lot of symbolism in Hellboy. He loses his right eye for passage, whereas Odin gave up his eye for knowledge. One of the things that I really enjoy about Hellboy is how things that are said can have many meanings. Hellboy's destiny is to wear a crown and to fight and to destroy the world. One thing that they never mention is the world doesn't mean Earth. The crown doesn't mean the crown of hell. And the sword, oh yeah, that was another thing, was you will carry your father's sword. It doesn't mean his legitimate father, Azael. If you want to know already, Hellboy is actually a long descendant of King Arthur on his mother's side. So the sword in question is Excalibur, and the crown is Arthur's crown. Because since he's the first male born of Arthur's family, in a long generation of just women being born, that makes him the rightful heir to Arthur's throne.
Ooh.
Meaning he can also command the Legion of the Dead of Arthur's men.
Ooh.
I'm telling you, Mike, I gotta tell you, if you don't want to read 12 volumes of Hellboy, get the omnibus. There's 4.
Mm-hmm.
there's 4 omnibuses or omnibi, and they all get right to the point about what Hellboy is, what he stands for, what he's done, and his story, from the time that he's born to the time that he dies, and then some, and his great explorations throughout hell. He's such a great character. He's been such an inspiration for me. Mike Mignola is such an amazing guy altogether. He has inspired my art. He's inspired my writing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of good things to look into.
Yeah, Hellboy's a pretty fantastic read. It's definitely it's also up there with just a different kind of comic book. But I'd always recommend it to everybody. You don't have to be a specific kind of person to really enjoy Hellboy, I don't think.
So normally I talk about how you read a comic book, you want to read an easy character or a hard character depending on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
How I said Rorschach and The Watchmen is kind of a hard comic to get into because of the themes it is.
Mm-hmm.
Hellboy is not a hard character to get into. He's a very opening character.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's so much things that could have happened with Hellboy, and I'm glad they didn't. For instance, his design. Hold on one second. I'm fixing my mic. His design. So you have, right off the bat, you have Half Demon, right? And if you don't know what Hellboy looks like and you hear Half Demon, it's like, oh, fuck, here we go. And then you hear wears a long leather trench coat. You're like, oh, fuck, you know, we're about to have another Blade wannabe, right?
Yeah.
You hear carries a big gun, and it's like, Jesus, here we go. You know, you could have done all that. You could have given him such a weird form, but that didn't happen to him. They gave him a very strange form. He's described as ugly most times in cinemas, and of course sometimes in the comics, and it's understandable. I mean, he's an 8-foot tall red being with things growing out of his head.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to look very attractive, unless you're me, but that's me.
I think you're attractive, Donovan.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
My mom thinks I'm cool.
I really only saw you in that one live stream, and that I don't even really remember.
What live stream?
Nah, Donovan, you
When
had
were-
that.
that charcoal mask.
Yeah.
Oh!
And you put your face cam on to watch, to let us watch.
Fun fact,
Yeah.
actually. So I had to do a 24-hour watch on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
As I came off the watch, I went to take a shower. I used charcoal scrub to, you know, get some stuff out of my pores, right?
Mhm.
Because I had
your
a very
butt.
dirty face.
Yeah.
And I looked at the mirror and I was like, oh, I still have crap in my nose. So I put on the charcoal mask,
Mhm.
and I wind up putting it all on my face, which is fine. You know, that's the intended purpose. I then decide to sit in my chair. I lean back and I fall asleep for 2 hours.
Oh, good.
Uh-oh.
I wake up and I can't move my face or open my mouth because the charcoal mask had literally glued my lips together.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's like the Matrix.
I could breathe. Oh yeah,
Yes.
it was. But the thing is like, I ripped it off. It has never hurt this bad before because I'd never let it stay on for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that hurt.
Combine that
I mean,
with
all the
fact
crap-
that, yeah, the fact that you have hair on your face, like that is a different kind of pain, friend.
Right. Oh, Chase, if you would like, I will post a picture of myself in our thing real quick. Nathan, you can post this on the thing if you want to real
Sure.
quick. I
Did you
don't
guys-
care.
Did you guys like my masterful beard picture?
This is Donovan. This is gonna be Donovan's little picture. Yeah, I did see that, Chase. Sorry, we're talking
Yeah,
Discord.
Isn't it? Oh, I know. Isn't it a fucking dope ass beard? I've never seen a beard style like that. It's so cool.
It looks nice.
It's like a Fu Manchu, except like more like a, I guess Western kind of, you know,
Yeah.
like feel to it. You know.
It's
I
a
don't know,
nice
I think it's
beard.
cool.
So yeah, that's all I really have to say about Hellboy. I just noticed that I
Yes.
basically talked for about 30 minutes there.
No, you're good, man. That's what we want. It's
So,
your
Well,
episode.
it's a
get-
specialty episode. I mean, it was
Right.
kind of a specialty for both of our characters because I talked so long. So.
So I will say this now. Let's get right to the fight.
Let's get
Ding,
right to the
ding,
fight,
ding,
boys. Yeah.
motherfuckers!
But before we go to the fight, I have to use the restroom really quick, so I'll be right back. I'll be back. Just a second. All right, love you. Bye.
This episode is brought to you by nothing. I'm not going to advertise this shit because I know Nathan didn't actually go to the bathroom. He's just giving me this opportunity for this comedic timing. So Nathan, when you come back and start reading this, or actually, as I was, when you start listening to this, for the low price of $19.99, I can tell you to get fucked. So yeah, that's all I got right now.
From Midwest Marauder, Ghost Rider, Hellboy.
Okay, guys. We have got from Bonecheck, the Midwest Marauder is his name.
Woo!
We have
Woo!
Ghost Rider. Chase, are we doing the Nick Cage one?
Yeah, we'll do Johnny. We'll do Johnny Blaze.
Yeah. And then we've got,
Johnny Blaze.
of course, Hellboy. In a school gymnasium, relatively big, no windows. Whatever the character has a weakness to, which I don't think any of our characters have weaknesses.
Mine do.
Yeah?
I looked it up.
Water.
It's actually mostly like holy weapons and stuff that's like forged in heaven, but really, he's never really encountered a lot of them. He actually it just says, you know, it just kind of mentions a couple it just literally says holy stuff forged in heaven, and doesn't really name any objects.
Okay, well, let's just say that it's really, really, really freaking hard to get out of this gymnasium, all right? We've got the Midwest Marauder in one third. We've got Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze on the other third. We've got Hellboy on the other third. Now, before we really get into it, do we allow Ghost Rider to have his motorcycle?
Yes.
No.
Yes, that is part of his power.
No.
Yeah.
I will
Actually,
go ahead
no,
and
wait,
say
yeah,
yes.
that is part of his
He
power.
summons it from the
Yeah,
Hellfire.
that's right,
It is
that's right,
part
yeah.
of his ability.
I'll go ahead and say
I
yes.
forgot, okay.
But Hellboy is allowed to have his sword, of course.
Yeah, okay, that's sure, fine.
Okay.
I mean, that would be like not allowing Iron Man to have his suit, you know, that's what makes Iron Man Iron Man.
Yeah, that's true. So, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Midwest Marauder for a second. That's his name. I forgot to mention it earlier. I just called him Bonecheck like a dumbass.
And how he loses, right?
Yeah, he might lose.
Yeah, how he gets his
Look, okay.
I know he's gonna get his shit pushed in.
So, in Bonecheck, let me tell you, it is impossible for this character to die, it seems. That being said, he does dodge quite a bit of fire. So, I'm assuming that he can take a blow. The only reason I say that is because, if I can remember correctly, in order to propel himself out of a taxi, he just asked the taxi driver to slam on the brake, and he burst through the front fucking windshield. Like that, there are so many more ways. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. There's so many more ways to just exit a taxi. You could simply walk out. But no, he did it, and he was perfectly fine. But I don't know the parameters of this character yet. He is relatively new. So I am going to go ahead and assume that he can take a blow, even though he drinks a certain type of, I think, tequila that gives him his special enhancements and his fiery rage. I think that the Midwest Marauder honestly might hold a fight against Hellboy, but not a chance against Ghost Rider, because he is such a fucking sinner, dude. Like, all he does is the oopsies that you talked about, Chase. Like, that's the only thing he does.
The list of big oopsies.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that he could get a couple cracks at Hellboy, but with Ghost Rider, he's screwed. So, Ghost Rider takes out Midwest Marauder for me.
Sweet. Just look, I'm gonna have to argue. I'm gonna have to say Hellboy wins.
Why is that?
Because, man, it's Hellboy. Hellboy literally fought.
Okay, that means
Hold on.
absolutely nothing.
That means
But okay,
absolutely
go on.
everything and anything. So, I'll go ahead and just throw this out there, is that can Ghost Rider turn into a colossal being taller
Yes,
than
he
the
can,
Leviathan?
actually. I looked it up, bitch.
Can he fucking call down lightning? Is he responsible
he doesn't
for
need lightning.
Is he responsible for destroying all of hell and causing it to turn into turmoil, which then spills over onto the earth?
No,
I
that
bet he
doesn't-
wasn't.
No,
No,
but that
that's-
does not have anything to do with it.
No, I'm just saying that's the power of Hellboy, and that's just him just a little upset.
Okay.
Hellboy has immense power that he himself just doesn't want to use because he's honestly terrified of it.
Okay, so
Tell
Alright,
me why Ghost Rider would beat Hellboy right now.
Because Ghost Rider does not get tired. Hellboy does. I looked it up, and he has actually fought Hulk to a standstill.
Okay.
And when Johnny Blaze actually loses control of the Ghost Rider, it is said that he has limitless power and is one of the strongest characters in the Marvel Universe. And he's actually controlled a Celestial by taking over his armor. He has immeasurable strength. Doctor Strange has called his powers boundless and godlike, because, like I said, he fought, one of the strongest characters in the Marvel Universe to a standstill. And what else? Johnny and that was in the World War Hulk storyline, by the way. And he, like I said, he can grow to a colossal size. He can literally change any weapon into a weapon using the Hellfire, like the chain, the shotgun, the fucking staff, whatever. He can literally change any weapon he wants into a Hellfire weapon. His
But the
bike
thing
has
is-
super speed. And instant regeneration. He's pretty much invulnerable to a lot of, to basically everything. Yeah, that's pretty much it. He's basically immortal too, because obviously he can, it's not necessarily, you're not killing Ghost Rider, you're just killing the vessel that he's in, and he'll just switch to another vessel. Not saying there's another vessel in this room that we're in, but still, that shows you how powerful he is. Oh, hey, this is kind of cool. Danny Ketch actually succeeded doing something that Johnny Blaze never seemed capable, and he actually multiplied himself. So he can literally multiply himself into tons of Ghost Riders.
Well, let me
Cool.
throw
Created-
something at you here, Chase.
What?
So, as far as I know about Ghost Rider, because I don't know a whole lot, I know that this was a part of the original comic, and then I know that this was, at least in the first movie, Ghost Rider is only Ghost Rider by night. Am I wrong?
Yes.
So,
Okay, but that doesn't.
Okay.
If we're really facing Ghost Rider versus Hellboy, then it has to be nighttime, because then he's just Johnny Blaze. So that doesn't.
well,
That kind of negates itself.
so in the past, Chase, the laws of time have
in what
have
one?
been true. I'm trying to think which one I'm gonna cite, because we had an episode where, after so much time of fighting, a certain character could beat another character down. It definitely wasn't with Multiple Man. I think it was our
No, it was probably Hyperion.
Hyperion and Power Girl.
that doesn't-
Yeah.
Yeah, but that we never specified whether it was nighttime or daytime. We just said time in general.
Yeah, but it's time in
So
general.
if
so
we're
eventually
yeah,
it'll
but
be
that,
day.
But we can. I mean, but I don't know. Fucking what's his face? He has controlled it.
Okay.
Uh,
See, that's what I thought.
Johnny Blaze has been able to control it, and like I said, when he loses control of it, that's when he's like really, really powerful. But obviously, and the penance stare, by the way. This is cool. That's awesome. I don't know. Okay, let me look up and see if he's ever been Ghost Rider during the day.
Okay.
What I'm gonna say is that, one, your Hellboy or your Hellfire chains and whatnot won't work on Hellboy because he can manipulate Hellfire himself.
Ooh.
So
Ah.
there's that. The penance stare, doesn't that only work on men?
I don't know. I don't think it has a certain parameter. Just
Like it only works on like humans and like mortal things.
I don't. No, because it's even worked against Galactus, so no, it can work on Hellboy.
Okay, very well. So, granted, there's that.
Okay, so has Johnny Blaze? God damn it! Fuck! Okay.
The whole motorcycle speed thing, you know, I get it. He can be very fast and all that, and I know that Ghost Rider's motorcycle can actually drive faster than Mjolnir, and Mjolnir has been able to clock speeds faster than light.
Mm-hmm.
So I know there's that, but that doesn't really go into play when basically Hellboy can once again get shot in the face with a shotgun at point blank and just shrug it off.
Well,
That
but, I
is
mean,
kinda-
but so can Ghost Rider.
Right, I understand, but at the same time, it's just like, fuck, I had a good point and I completely forgot it because I had to poop really bad. God, I gotta shit so bad.
It's all right, Donovan. It's all right, Donovan. We'll give you that time because guess what? It is now time for the audience to decide who wins in this standoff. Ghost Rider, Hellboy, maybe the Bonecheck one, maybe. But primarily Ghost Rider versus Hellboy. You've got two beings from the depths of hell going at it against each other. One of them's red, one of them's made of fire. Both of them seem to be of an equal caliber, I'd say. Chase, you're real lucky that Excalibur is magic and not heavenly, or else you'd be screwed.
Yeah.
Well, you
maybe.
could argue that King Arthur got it from the Lady in the Lake, which was, I mean, wasn't King Arthur's whole quest to seek the Holy Grail? Wasn't that a mission given from God? Wouldn't you think that would make Excalibur a holy weapon?
Well, Excalibur is purely magical just because of...
Aha! I found it.
All right, Chase found
Sorry,
it.
go on.
No, I'm pretty
Just
sure
go on.
that...
I'm letting you know I found it.
Oh, Ghost Rider during the day?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It says it's been gone for a while now. Robbie, whatever his name is, Ghost Rider has been transforming during the day.
Okay. What about Johnny
He
Blaze,
doesn't
though?
only transform at night.
Is this something
It
that
doesn't say anything
they've
about
always
Johnny
been able
Blaze.
to do, or is this only particular to that incarnation?
I think it might be particular to that incarnation, but again, if we're saying that, you know, I think if the Ghost Rider is one singular being, Robbie and Johnny Blaze have been and are actually being reinstituted into a new comic book coming out soon. They are the Ghost Rider in the same universe, so I would assume that with the same abilities, he could as well. But if you guys want to not count it, that's fine, and we can do that. But again, even if we were to fight until daytime, I think Hellboy would get kind of worn out after 12 hours.
Think
You know,
so?
like
All right.
after 12 hours of nighttime.
Well, then we will pass this question on to you, the people, and see what all of you have to say about it. This was a really fun episode, guys. I really enjoyed listening to all that you had to say on Ghost Rider and Donovan Hellboy. I know how much you love the character. So I'm hoping that next week we can keep the ball rolling. I'm in a real busy state right now, but I still want to keep this podcast prioritized. And we'll have a fantastic episode out for you guys then too. Right, boys?
Right.
Completely.
All right. Well, until next time, my name is Nathan D. Gonder.
People aren't really afraid of being alone in a dark room. What you're really afraid of is finding out that you aren't alone in that dark room.
I'm leaving, I guess, because my intro's usually I'm here.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Thank you guys so
You're welcome.
much.
You're welcome.
We'll see everybody next time. I know this isn't a superhero thing, but to those of you that are still participating in the Area 51 raid, it's a dead fucking meme, okay? Let it go. Bye, everyone. Hey, did you like this podcast? I know I didn't. But if you want to stay informed and keep updated with our wacky shenanigans, you can follow us on Instagram or Twitter. Both things will be linked below. Expect a new episode every Monday from now on. Keeping it a little crazy, changing things up, huh? Huh? You like that? You like being kept on your toes? All right, I'll leave you alone. Wait! Haha, just kidding. Gotcha.